The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to Solo Pro Radio. It's the only resource for self-employed professionals to grow their business. I'm Barbara Saunders, the Solo Pro Success Coach, and it's my mission to help brilliant creative solo pros go from freelance to flourishing. And I do that as the director of the International Association of Self-Employed Communication Professionals and as the founder of the Solo Pro Academy, where I have programs focused specifically on helping solo pros build a profitable, custom-fit business. Swing on by soloprosuccess.com and pick up your free Income Accelerator Success Kit. If you'd like to join in with today's conversation, just phone in at area code 561-422-4365. Or you can always join the conversation on the website with the chat boxes at the bottom right. Welcome to Monday edition of Solo Pro Radio, the All Things in Marketing Hour with Bob Steinkamp. Good morning, Bob.
Hi, Barbara. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Very well, thank you. It's December, and I'm in upstate New York in the United States, and quite frankly, the weather at this time of year can be
frightful,
pretty nasty. Yeah, it can be frightful sometimes, but it's a gorgeous day out there today. I was actually ate my lunch outside today. Of course, it's early afternoon where I am, and actually sat outside eating my lunch just a little while ago and enjoying it. We've got temperatures in the 50s, which would be perhaps, I don't know, somewhere between 10, 15 degrees Celsius for people in other countries. And that's nice weather for us to have this time of year. So I'm doing good. How about you?
Excellent. Not too bad. Not too bad. I'm looking forward to a stimulating radio show today.
Well, good. We aim to deliver here, and we'll make that happen here on All Things Marketing. I'm going to get up on the soapbox just a little bit, I think, just to start off with. Things spread around Facebook. That's the nature of it. That's kind of what it was put together for, so that people could share what they're doing and what they're interested in, and their friends could see it and maybe share it with their friends as well. That's the whole idea behind Facebook. But at least in my circle of friends, and I have maybe 350 Facebook friends, an awful lot of people have been posting these Facebook copyright/distribution notices where they hereby notify Facebook that their copyright is attached to anything that they post to Facebook, and that Facebook does not have the authority to distribute that content on its own without the permission of the person posting this notice. And does this have something to do with marketing? Well, yes and no. First and foremost, these notices that people are posting, Barbara, are just an absolute, utter, and complete waste of time. Yeah. Legally, they're useless. Have you seen any of these? Have you seen any of your friends posting them?
No, I haven't, but I have seen a significant level of annoyance growing with that. I guess you'd call them sponsored posts.
Yeah.
People don't even know they're being sponsored out there, and that went over like a lead balloon, I think, for Facebook.
Yeah, that's another can of worms that we might dive into a little bit later on here on All Things Marketing. This copyright distribution notice that people are posting, notifying Facebook that doesn't have the right to distribute anything they post, legally, they're useless. First and foremost, when you sign up for a Facebook account, you agree to Facebook's terms of service, and you also agree Facebook can go in and make unilateral changes to that agreement as it sees fit, and you agree to those changes. But that agreement does not give you the right to make unilateral changes to it. So legally, there's nothing that people can do about this. And these notices that they're posting are really just a kind of a waste of time. And Snopes.com has a great article about this that explains it all in plain language. If you go and just do a search engine search for Snopes.com Facebook copyright notice, and it brings the article up and explains it all in plain language. And perhaps the point I want to make here from a marketing perspective, I can share with everyone who's listening today. If you are looking for a good Facebook privacy policy, here it is in one sentence. If it's private, don't post it to Facebook.
Yeah. There you go.
That's it. If it's private,
it's called common sense.
And as Martin said, sometimes common sense is very uncommon. But I see this, and from a marketing perspective, I get phone calls from people that have situations where they've posted something to Facebook that they realized later on they probably shouldn't have posted, and when I get into a little bit of question and answer with them, they realized when they were posting it that they probably shouldn't do it, and now they've got a little bit of a mess on their hands. And you can go in and delete the post, but you never know. Someone's got a screen capture, and I have one of those little tools that sits down at the bottom in the tray of my computer screen, and it's a little snipping tool, and all I need to do is just click that, and within a matter of seconds I can capture a screen image of anything that's anywhere on my computer screen, and it only takes me a couple seconds to do. So the bottom line, Solo Pros and small business owners, this Facebook copyright/privacy notice that you may be seeing, look, you're welcome to post it if you want, but legally it's essentially useless. And from a marketing and PR perspective, the best piece of advice I can give you is if there's any question in your mind about whether or not you should post something, you probably shouldn't post it. As Barbara said, good old-fashioned common sense. 8 minutes past the hour, we're talking all things marketing here on W4WN.com, All Women's Radio. I'm Bob Steinkamp, owner and managing consultant at Ithaca Public Relations and Ithaca, New York Strategic Marketing, Advertising, Media, and Public Relations. Barbara Saunders is with me. She is the founder of many, many, many different organizations and or director. Boy, she just wears so many hats here sometimes. I need a scorecard to keep up with them, I'm telling you. But she's also the founder of Solo Pro Radio, and she's here along with Solo Pro Radio every Monday through Friday right at this time. Today we're talking marketing. Other days we talk entrepreneurs and focus. Some days we're talking legal aspects of running a business, but we're here for you every day, Solo Pro, at this time. So make sure you join us as well. We've been in the trenches just like you have, growing our businesses. We know what it's like to be a solo professional and to be out there and fighting the good fight every day. And it's our job to be here for you and bring you the best, most practical advice we possibly can. And that's what we do. Cyber Monday and Black Friday, and of course now a little over a week away. or a week behind us, I should say at this point, and some interesting information now starting to come out, Barbara, about online sales on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And there's something interesting in there which I think kind of backs up what we've been saying here on Solo Pro Radio on All Things Marketing all along. And I'm going to get this wrong, so I'm just going to put it like this, but it was either Black Friday or Cyber Monday that for the first time, online sales topped $1 billion. That's billion with a B as in boy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a chunk of change. That's a chunk of change. But here's the interesting thing. And here's where I think this kind of ties into what all of the marketing experts say, and certainly what we've talked about here on All Things Marketing in the past. 0.034%, 1/3 of 1% of those online sales, of that $1 billion in sales, came from social media.
Wow.
Yeah. So the point and the point on this that I want to make to everybody is that this kind of demonstrates that when it comes to outright promotion and sales, okay, social media really is not where that's going to happen, because I know in my own news feeds on Facebook and in some other places, I saw quite a few businesses doing an awful lot of promoting of all the specials that they were going to have. And, click right here to go to this special offer and go to this website or to order this and that. But out of that $1 billion in online sales that was done over either Black Friday or Cyber Monday, 1/3 of 1% of that came from social media. And again, Barbara, I think this just drives home the point of what we've said here on Solo Pro Radio all along, is that with your social media, it's about engagement and building that relationship and putting that human side on your business. It's not about sales and promotion. So for a solo pro or a small business owner, when you're looking at how do I effectively use social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or any of the other shiny objects that are out there, it's about engagement. It's about sharing content that your fans and followers are interested in. It's about engaging with their content and sharing a little bit of that as well. Hitting the like button, leaving a comment, sharing somebody's post or picture, putting some occasional useful information out there that people can kind of use if you've got some expertise in an area, which all solo pros do. And that's really what social media is about. It's not about selling. It's not about making sales. And I think that those figures from Cyber Monday or Black Friday kind of back that up just a little bit. I thought that was real interesting.
It is. It is
interesting.
Yeah,
I just, in some respects, I had expected that figure to be a whole lot higher. I mean, I was thinking, 20-25% or something like that. But, 1/3 of 1%, that's a very small number. So, social media marketing, and again, it's all about engagement on the social media channels, and I think that's what the numbers from Cyber Monday and Black Friday kind of bear out there. 561-422-4365 is the phone number. I'm Bob Steinkamp. We're taking your calls here on All Things Marketing. Barbara Saunders is along with me. And Barbara, we've talked about this a little bit in the past along the lines of people setting up an editorial calendar or a marketing calendar and kind of planning out different initiatives that they can do over the course of a month or over the course of a quarter or the half year or the entire year. And I kind of had that point driven home just a little bit. I started working with a a small business here in upstate New York that has its own line of clothing that it manufactures. And we got into a discussion about how the business runs from an organizational and logistical standpoint. And of course, my interest is the marketing end of it. But as they were pointing out to me in a meeting today, that they don't necessarily want to think about marketing their fall and winter clothing right now, because they're already looking at putting together their spring fashion lines and putting together their marketing for their spring and summer fashion lines. And here we are, we're still in the first week of December, but they're already thinking out to next spring and to next summer. And that just kind of drove home the point for me today, just a little bit, that, really with anybody, when it comes to marketing, sitting down and thinking a few months in advance is sometimes a good idea. What kind of marketing initiative can you put out there? If your business and your offerings change just a little bit on a seasonal basis, is there a time of year? Does your industry sort of follow a particular cycle? Are there times of the year when it's busier than others? As a solo pro or a small business owner, you want to take a look at things like that and plan your marketing out around that, even if it means going some 3 to 6 or maybe even 9 months out, as far as that goes. Because certainly it drove home the point for me. And of course, as I was saying at the beginning of the show, the weather here where I am is fantastic today, but over the weekend it was kind of cold and a little bit of snow was coming down, and it certainly seemed like winter. But this fashion client is operating in terms of spring and summer. So in terms of marketing, that's kind of the angle and the approach that I've got to take in order to effectively market the business. So again, the message here simply is just take some time and think about where you might want to go 3 to 6 to 9 months down the road with your marketing, and think about these things in advance. What opportunities might present themselves? Are there any holidays or observances that are related to the industry that you work in? What sort of promotions of your own can you come up with? Is your business or industry, are there any cycles to it that you could take advantage of from a marketing perspective? Those are all things to think about several months in advance and start laying the groundwork for them now. And of course, we're also at December. We're coming up on the end of the year. So really now is a good time for any solo pro to sit down and simply take stock of their marketing efforts in 2012 and take a look at what worked and what they can improve on in 2013. 561-422-4365 is the phone number. That's 561-422-4365. I'm Bob Steinkamp, owner and managing consultant at Ithaca Public Relations, and we're talking all things marketing here on Solo Pro. If you're on Skype, if you don't want to pick up the phone and call us, but you're cool with Skype, it's W, the numeral 4, WN Radio, and you can always call into the show that way. We've got chat boxes in the lower right-hand corner of the W4WN.com homepage, and you can post your question there if you'd need to sign in, and or even if you don't want to sign in, you can post your question there as a guest, and we'll see it, and we'll do our best to give you an answer. So, Barbara, you do some design work, and we've talked about designs and business card designs and just graphic design in general.
Right.
And I'm just curious, have you ever noticed how businesses will use different fonts and different typefaces? They may use the same logo, they may use the same colors, but they'll use different fonts and typefaces on a letter that they write versus their business card. Have you ever noticed that?
You mean like a font that's inside their logo?
Yeah, maybe I didn't. Yeah, maybe I didn't quite go far enough with that. For example, I hand you my business card, and it's got my logo on it, and the typeface on the rest of the card is all in an Arial typeface. But
Right.
then I send you a letter in the mail, and the letter is written in Times New Roman typeface.
Yeah.
I can
Definitely.
hear you.
Yeah.
Bob, where are you going with this?
We try to pull people out of Microsoft Word as much as possible. Yes, definitely. It's best for people to use a specific font and a readable font for their logo
Mm-hmm.
and not get too creative, quote unquote creative with, if you're going to use it in your logo, you want people to be able to read it.
Yeah. I guess where I was going with this just a little bit, and I apologize. I could have explained this a whole lot better here, but I sat down with a friend of mine who's looking to go into business for himself a week or two ago, and was just looking over some of his marketing materials. And he's got a website underway. He's not ready to launch it yet. It's not ready to go live. I've seen his letterhead and his business card and a few other things, and he's using one typeface. It looks a little bit like an Arial on his website. He's got a slightly more upscale typeface on his business card. And on his letterhead, the text of a couple of letters that he's written to people are done in Times New Roman. So he's got three different typefaces going there. And I guess the point I wanted to make is that for a solo pro, one of the things that you can do to help give yourself a uniform look across the board is to pick one particular typeface to use for everything. So this is the typeface that the text on your website will be in, the typeface that the text on your business card will be in, and it'll be the typeface that you use when you actually sit down and write somebody a letter and print it up on your company letterhead.
That's a great tip, Bob, and now that I get where you're going, yes, definitely. Because, different typefaces can look very cluttered. If you're not, you want to mix and match very carefully when you're using fonts and be aware of things like sans serifs and serifs. And just a little tip, if you want to attract more, a kind of a higher paying clientele, if you're focusing on a higher paying clientele, you got to pull yourself out of Microsoft Word and stop using Arial and Times Roman and Courier.
Yeah.
Get away from those kind of generic, simplistic fonts and use a more professional font. Say, for example, Helvetica. I know it's kind of been used to death, but there are several versions of Helvetica, which are a more high-end look. It's a subconscious message that you're sending. So that's a great Helvetica or Sans or Gill Sans is great. Sans serif font or, Garamond or something for a serif font. It really sends a message to people that this is a little more professional business. Let's see, you got me off on fonts, and there we go.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I had a feeling that you'd have some thoughts on this. I guess I just didn't take the idea far enough before I brought you into the conversation there. I apologize for that, but I was looking at his materials, and he's got a great logo. I like the colors that he's chosen for his business. I like the typeface and the fonts that he's using for the business name. But as I was looking at, the details on his business card, the name and the title, his name and his title and his contact information. And then as I was looking at the text on his website and then looking at some of the letters that he's written on one of his company letterheads, I began to realize that they all looked a little bit different, and it just gave a kind of sort of an off look to the whole thing. It didn't all quite look like it was in sync. And I'm probably guilty of this too. Well, there's no probably about it. I definitely am. As far as that goes, but it occurred to me that, one of the things a business can do is go for that uniform look by choosing a specific typeface and font that all official correspondence will be written in, and ideally your website is using the same typeface and font, and it also appears on your business cards as well, and it just creates a much more uniform look. And I like your idea about the fact that, getting away from the Arial and getting away from the Times New Roman and some of those others will perhaps help you attract a little bit better paying client if you're willing to go with a font and a typeface that are, look a little more classy. That's a very good point. I never thought about that.
Well, definitely, and a good graphic designer with some experience behind them will actually help you create what's called a style guide for your business, and that spells it out exactly what size font you're using in all of your communications, what size your logo should always be displayed at. It really spells those things out so that you have a really clear guide to the consistency that you want to portray in your business.
Right. And that's that is something that a friend of mine who's a graphic designer has mentioned once or twice. She says, I need to sit down and write you a style guide so that you start playing by the rules here. But that's a very good tip, actually. A good graphic designer will give you a style guide for how to use your logos and placement and fonts and typeface, things of that nature as well. So anyway, that's my design rant for this week. Anyhow, 27 minutes past the hour. We're talking marketing and all things marketing here on Solo Pro Radio. I'm Bob Steinkamp, the loose nut behind the microphone, along with Barbara Saunders, who is the founder and driving force behind Solo Pro Radio. We come to you every Monday through Friday at this time right here on W4WN.com. Solo Pros, you're not alone. We've been out there in the trenches doing it every day just like you have. We get in there and we fight the good fight, and we like to be out there and work for yourself, and we've got the solid practical advice that you need to help you grow your business. And in our minds, there's no such thing as a silly question or a stupid question. If it's a marketing-related question or anything about running a business, we want you to pick up the phone and give us a call, because we're here to help you. 561-422-4365 is the phone number. If you'd like to Skype into the conversation, you can do that at the numeral 4, WN Radio. And we've also got chat boxes in the lower right corner of the W4WN.com homepage. You can post your question there if you'd care to do that. And oh gosh, what else has been going on lately that I wanted to talk about? It's just seems like it's one social media disaster after another lately. But I want to leave those alone for a while, because I think I've made the point enough that you really need to, at least for the time being, that you really need to think before you post online, and that's just so true if you're a solo professional or a small business owner, because so many people are going to align what you say personally with your business, and that's one of the things that kind of stinks about being a solo professional is that you do have to watch out for those things. But that's the price you pay. If you want your place in the sun, you got to expect a few blisters, I guess. So every day, and we've talked about this before, but this might be a good time to mention it again. Every day, every week, every month has a holiday or observance attached to it. And for a solo pro, that means you've got 365 opportunities for some PR or to hold a promotion of some kind. And the key, of course, is just to find one that has some significance to you or your business or organization, and then create an activity or an event and publicize it. For example, if you're a solo pro or a small business owner, you could sponsor a trip to the fire station for some Cub Scouts or some Girl Scouts during National Fire Safety Week, or ask the fire department if a couple of firefighters can come to your location with equipment and gear that the children can try on and use. Another example of how you as a solo pro or small business owner can find a good holiday or observance to tie into: beg, borrow, or rent some bicycles during National Bicycle Safety Month and host bicycle safety courses at your location or a local youth center. Of course, you want to take some pictures of that and post it to social media, write up a little blurb, send it over to the news media, and be sure to include some of the pictures that you took at the event. And this is a great way to generate a little bit of publicity for yourself. But the point is that literally every day of the year, every week, and every month have a holiday or observance attached to it. It's just a matter of you taking a few minutes to find out which ones look like they might align with your business in some way. A great resource to take a look at some point, solo pros, if you'd like to get a quick list of some of the different daily, weekly, or monthly holidays and observances, is good old Wikipedia. Just go and go to Wikipedia's website and type in list of holidays and observances, and a pretty good one will come up as far as that goes. There's also a website called ePromos. That's ePromos as in promotion. www.epromos.com. They've got a great listing of the many, many different holidays that are going on out there, everything from National Cotton Candy Day to National Talk Like a Pirate Day. It was September 19th.
And we missed it.
We did.
We talk like a pirate most of the time anyway.
Yeah. But September 19th is National Talk Like a Pirate Day. And there's a National Cotton Candy Day. You know, May is National Skin Cancer Awareness Month. National Fire Safety Week takes place, I believe, every October. It's either October or November. And, you know, all of these things present opportunities for a solo pro or a small business to put together some kind of promotion and do a little bit of publicity for themselves. There's some marketing opportunities to bring in new business or reach out to existing clients, and some PR opportunities in terms of getting some good publicity and maybe some press coverage out of it as well. And again, it doesn't have to be a big thing. You know, it can be something very simple. It's just sponsoring a Cub Scout or Girl Scout troop and having them all bring their bicycles over to your location or to a church parking lot or something like that, and spending an afternoon teaching the kids how to ride their bikes safely. The Scouts will appreciate it. The Scout leaders will love you for it. You take a few pictures, you promote it on your website, on your social media, maybe write something up and send it out to the paper, and you just never know. You just never know about things like that. And those are simple, easy things that any solo professional can do. It's just a matter of finding a few minutes to put something like that together. But again, as we said a little bit earlier in the program today, think about these things a few months in advance so that you're thinking about your marketing well in advance, and you've also got some time to plan them out. But if you're looking for other resources in terms of different holidays and observances, there's also a website called brownielocks.com. And that's brownie as in cupcakes and brownies, brownie locks, LOCKS.com. And Brownie Locks and Wikipedia and ePromos.com all have great resources when it comes to listing all the different holidays and observances that take place and are out there that you as a solo pro or small business owner can take advantage of to generate a little bit of publicity for yourself. So that's just something that we've talked about before here on All Things Marketing, and I wanted to bring it up again, particularly now that we're getting toward the end of the year. It's a good time to start thinking about your marketing for 2013 and what direction you're going to take your marketing in for the coming year. Do a little bit of planning in advance. Set yourself up with a marketing calendar. If media relations is a part of that, then you may also want to include an editorial calendar in there so that you remind yourself or make your editorial calendar a part of your marketing calendar and just put in, write press release about such and such, or keep in mind that this usually happens at this time of year and I'm an expert in this topic, and pitch those kinds of stories to the news media. We'll start thinking about those things now, solo pros, while we're at the end of 2012 and getting ready to head into 2013. As I said to a client that I met with earlier today, if you spend an hour a day working on your marketing and even just updating your website or your LinkedIn profile and doing some work on LinkedIn or on your website, things like that count as the marketing. If you spend an hour or so doing that every day, you're going to see a big improvement in your overall marketing efforts, and you're going to see your business start to really grow and really prosper. 561-422-4365 is the phone number. We're talking all things marketing here on Solo Pro Radio. I'm Bob Steinkamp, along with Barbara Saunders, who's the driving force behind Solo Pro Radio, and she's here every day, so she knows all about being out there and fighting the good fight every day, and helping solo pros get more success and get more business and grow their businesses. And Barbara, did you? We may have talked about this earlier this year, but I'm just kind of curious, and I'll toss this out there. No trick questions here. There's a good marketing point, but left to their own devices, if people answer the sentence "I want blank" just on their own, what do you think the number one answers were for men and women?
Well, more money seems to come to mind.
You hit the nail on the head with that.
Women, I think, probably chocolate.
Yeah. It's you are pretty darn close with that. It's interesting. There's a firm called NetBase, and they NETBASE. And they analyzed, they went onto social media, Facebook, Twitter, all of those places, and they analyzed the sentence, "I want blank," some 27 billion times over a 1-year period to find out what men and women want. And it's interesting. When people answer on their own without being asked, the number one thing that women wanted was ice cream.
Okay.
The number one thing that men want is a car. But now here's the interesting thing. NetBase asked the Harris poll to survey 1,000 men and 1,000 women with the question, I want blank. And 60% of the time, the number one answer for both genders was money, which was what you said. So the point here is that when people are left, when people aren't prompted, when they're just talking, they tend to be a little bit more emotional about their wants and desires than when you ask them specifically, because that's when they stop for just a moment and they think about it. But the point of this is that people, and I've said this before, and some people disagree with me, but people buy based on emotion, backed up with logic. So part of our jobs as solo professionals when we're marketing our services is to make that emotional appeal to people in our marketing messages. So it's not just about straight up fact and logic. It's the idea that there's got to be a little bit of emotion in there as well. And that needs to be in the terms of the spoken word or the printed word. There needs to be a little bit of emotion in that message. And then it needs to be backed up with a little bit of logic. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Without being asked, the answers, 70% of the top three wants were exactly the same for both men and women: ice cream, cars, and pizza. And that's just when people were unprompted and said, I want such and such. But when you ask them about it, they stop to think about it just a little bit, and the number one answer was money. And if you stop and think about it, pizza, ice cream, and cars, those are kind of the emotion-based things. Car may be a little bit more of a necessity than pizza or ice cream in today's economy, but still somewhat of an emotional want or an emotional desire, whereas money is a much more logical thing, particularly in countries where there's a capitalistic base. I mean, certainly here in the United States, where we're a capitalistic nation and a free market economy, money is a bit more of something that you truly need, whereas ice cream or pizza is perhaps a little bit more of a desire. And again, the idea here is that people buy based on emotion, backed up with logic. So as you're putting your marketing message out there, you want to think about a little bit of that emotional appeal, and it needs to be there in the words or the text that you use. It needs to be there with the colors that you use, even the font and the typeface. And Barbara, you kind of touched on this just a few minutes ago when we were talking about font and typeface, and the idea that getting away from some of the old standards and using a slightly classier font and typeface is going to make it a little bit easier for you to pick up some of those higher-end, higher-paying clients. So again, that's kind of an emotion-based thing there, buying on emotion backed up with logic. So 561-422-4365 is the phone number. We're talking all things marketing here on Solo Pro Radio. I'm Bob Steinkamp, owner and managing consultant at Ithaca Public Relations in Ithaca, New York. And Barbara Saunders is with me today. And we've been talking just a little bit about the idea that you need to start thinking about your 2013 marketing at this point. Take a look at the different cycles in your business or your industry and do a little bit of planning there. Start thinking about any media pitches that you might want to make to the press next year. Start thinking just a little bit about how you can position yourself as an expert in the news media. Get a brief bio written up about yourself. Set up some Google News alerts so that when something happens in an industry or an area where you have some expertise, you can get a message out to the media with some advice or an opinion on it. and generate some news coverage for yourself. So, Barbara, I think we've got, about 5-10 minutes left here this afternoon?
5 minutes, it looks like.
Yeah. So we've been cooking right along here today. And I've been meaning to talk about this for a few weeks. I don't know that we're going to have time today, but I'd like to dive into it. It's a platform, a social media platform called Storify.
Oh.
Storify. And it's an interesting platform. I want to talk about this for just a moment because it enables people or businesses to collect and share a range of content from across the social web. It lets you curate tweets, photos, links, videos, posts about a particular subject, and then plug them all into one easily one consumable social story. And this can be a very powerful tool for social sharing for a variety of reasons. Storify would allow a user to scan for content on about 20 different social media sites such as YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, as well as websites. A story built on Storify incorporates all the images, the videos, the comments, the tweets, so that you can create a real story. When it gets published, all of the authors whose content is included can be notified, which gives you an automatic list of people who are primed to share your story because you put their content into one of your stories. Plus, it can be liked, commented on, it can be embedded on a website. It offers a lot of different options for engaging with an audience and inviting sharing and starting a conversation. So this is a real social site. And I came across this a couple of weeks ago, Barbara. I've been meaning to talk about Storify just a little bit and want to get onto the website and check it out just a little bit more. But I think it presents a lot of possibilities for solo pros and small business owners to kind of tell stories that would help back up their business or their industry, whichever profession that they happen to be working in. We are becoming an increasingly visual society. Survey after survey shows that photos, particularly on Facebook, and also to an extent on Twitter as well, are the number one thing that people tend to respond to in terms of a like or a comment or a share. And we see that happening. So Storify looks like it might be an interesting website, and we'll talk more about that in upcoming editions of All Things Marketing here on Solo Pro Radio.
Looks interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I spent a little bit of time on the website just looking around at some of the different stories that people have created, and there were people that have put them together based on current news events. There are people that put them together based on past news events. Just people that put together stories about all sorts of different things. There's one story that I came across there. The person that put it together is involved in hot air ballooning and managed to put together a number of different things that created a very interesting story, and visually it was very appealing and certainly held my attention. And I thought it was kind of a neat website, and it may be something that would be good for solo pros and small businesses to look into as well, in terms of creating some real shareable content and using content from a number of different sources. So that's it. I think that's pretty much going to do it for All Things Marketing, at least for this week. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week. We enjoyed talking with you, and we look forward to talking to you again next Monday here on All Things Marketing. And Barbara, I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, excellent. Some really great tips and resources you shared today, Bob. We'll have those up posted on the website shortly. And I hope that our listeners will join us for the rest of the week, 10 a.m. Pacific time for Solo Pro Radio, because we got some unbelievable great content for you.